In the previous chapter, we discussed about Indian economy evolution, and now we're going to discuss about the inclusive growth and development. Now, this handout covers core concepts of inclusive growth. We first understand which all sections of society are affected, and by reducing inequality and poverty, how things can get better, and growth and development in the economy can take place. Now, first is poverty. Understanding what the word poverty is all about is lack of resources to meet basic needs. Concepts are absolute poverty, that means people are below poverty line. It's a universal standard, not dependent on the income of others. Next is relative poverty, the condition of being poor compared to the rest of the society. A person is considered poor if their income is significantly lower than the average income of the population, regardless of whether they can meet their basic needs. Now, measurement methods in India. First is the Tendulkar Committee, then is the Rangarajan Committee. The Tendulkar Committee 2009 shifted the poverty line from a calorie-based norm to a consumption expenditure-based one. It used a mixed reference period for consumption and included expenditure on health and education, not just food. It also used single poverty line for both rural and urban areas, adjusted for prices. So the Tendulkar Committee shifted the poverty line from a calorie-based norm to a consumption expenditure-based one. कैलोरीज हम कंज्यूम करते हैं, कुछ भी आप खाना खाएंगे आप कितनी कैलोरीज कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं, वहां से हटा के कंजम्पशन एक्सपेंडिचर बेस्ड वन हो गया. अब कंजम्पशन एक्सपेंडिचर बेस्ड में क्या हुआ? एक्सपेंडिचर ऑन हेल्थ एंड एजुकेशन. तो कंजम्पशन तो सिर्फ फूड की कंजम्पशन की बात हो सकती थी, सिर्फ कैलोरीज की बात हो सकती थी, आप कितनी कैलोरीज इनटेक कर रहे हैं. बट यहाँ पे दो चीज़ें और इंक्लूड हो गई, विच इज़ हेल्थ एंड एजुकेशन. हेल्थ में मेंटल हेल्थ भी आती है. नाउ लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड how things got better with Rangarajan Committee. Now recommended a different methodology, reviving the idea of separate poverty lines for rural and urban areas, which was important because in the Tendulkar Committee it was the same poverty line for rural and urban areas. Here the poverty line was different from rural areas and urban areas, which was the Rangarajan Committee. It also accounted for a more diversified consumption basket and estimated a higher poverty line than the Tendulkar Committee. So with time, we have to look at the inflation and the poverty line has to increase. So as Rangarajan Committee came in year 2014, so your poverty line increases well. Next, let's understand causes and government schemes. High population growth, low agricultural productivity, unequal distribution of land and assets, and a lack of employment opportunities. These were our major causes for various government schemes when we got independence. Now let's look at the schemes. Manrega, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, guarantees 100 days of wage employment per financial year to rural households. 100 days of wage employment per financial year to rural households. Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, a national mission for financial inclusion, ensuring access to financial services for all households. It has become a key tool for direct benefit transfers. Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, National Mission for Financial Inclusion. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. The Guarantee Act guarantees 100 days of wage employment for rural households per financial year. for rural households. Every financial year starts from April 1st to March 31st, right? And in this 365 days, 100 days are given for wage employment per financial year to rural households. Clear? Then comes Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. Now, in this Jan Dhan Yojana, access to financial services for all households, direct benefit transfers, access to financial services for all households. So PMJDY. National Food Security Act aims to provide subsidized food grains to approximately two-thirds of the population. National Food Security Act subsidized food grains to approximately two-thirds of the population. But these three schemes, what we've discussed so far, is aiming at development and growth of generations. In a sense, development and growth for households, for every citizen. So someone who's born in India is entitled to all this, depending on certain aspects. So Manrega is for rural households, PMJDY is for everyone, financial services for all households, NFSA is for subsidized food grains to approximately two-thirds of the population, which is a very big amount, two-thirds of the population. Now comes unemployment. Now, unemployment is a situation where people who are willing and able to work cannot find jobs. So, structural employment caused by mismatch between skills of the workforce and the skills required for the jobs available. It is because of technological changes. Then comes cyclical unemployment, arises due to fluctuations in the business cycle, recessions, or economic downturns. Then comes disguised, a situation where more people are engaged in a job than are actually required. Even if some are removed, the total output remains the same, common in the agricultural sector. Seasonal occurs when people are employed only during specific seasons of the year, for example, in agriculture or tourism. Frictional unemployment, temporary unemployment that occurs when people are in between jobs or are searching for their first job. That's frictional unemployment. Now, let's understand the causes and initiatives. Rapid population growth is one of the causes. A skills mismatch from the education system, a slow pace of industrialization, and lack of capital formation. Initiatives: Skill India Mission, an umbrella initiative to provide vocational training and skill development to the workforce to address structural unemployment. Startup India, Stand Up India promotes entrepreneurship and job creation by providing financial support and a conducive environment for new businesses. Then comes Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana (PMKVY). It's a flagship scheme of the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship to provide industry relevant training skills. So Startup India, Stand Up India, Skill India Mission, and PMKVY. Now, they have tie-ups with not just public organizations, with the private organizations as well, and they provide certifications. Also, they ensure that they do a regular check on all these institutes which are tied with them, that they are following all the norms, and they conduct tests and exams as they provide certifications. Next comes human development. This goes beyond economic growth to measure the well-being and capabilities of people. Now, HDI, Human Development Index, We discussed HDI earlier as well in our topics of uh, when we discussed about Human Development Index, and when we were discussing about after the gross domestic product, we understood that apart from gross domestic product, which all are important. So we discussed about the model of Bhutan, and so it's a very important concept, HDI. Published by the UNDP, it's a composite index measuring a country's average achievement in three basic dimensions of human development. Long and healthy life, measured by life expectancy at birth. Knowledge measured by mean years of schooling, expected years of schooling. And a decent standard of living, measured by gross national income per capita. Multi-dimensional poverty index identifies multiple deprivations at the household and individual levels of health education and standard of living. Gender Development Index and Gender Inequality Index. The GDI measures gender gaps in the three dimensions of HDI. The GII measures gender inequalities in three important aspects of human development: reproductive health, empowerment, and economic activity. Next comes financial inclusion, the process of ensuring access to financial services for all, particularly the vulnerability sections of society. So here we'll be discussing about significance, challenges, and government initiatives. Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, Mudra Yojana, Digital India. Now, I'm not going further. Financial inclusions will be covered tomorrow in the next video, and we'll be starting with the financial inclusion. A quick recap of the previous one, because this chapter has a lot many things which are added into it, and today we have already covered very important uh, schemes. And in the starting, we discussed about Manrega. Then we discussed about after Manrega, we discussed about other two schemes, and then we discussed about PMKVY just now. Now, in a nutshell, these all government schemes are for the public at large, and as a IAS aspirant, we are supposed to know all these things, right? You all students need to know all these things very, very well. Okay. That's all from my side. Thank you.